Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we all know that creating dashboards and visualizations in Excel is easy and straightforward and can be a lot of fun if you have just one worksheet or file or a single table you are working with. However, it can become very daunting when you have multiple files or tables you need to work on, as creating relationships or links between these tables will involve you writing a lot of VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, or index and match functions. The good news I've brought to you today, however, is that Excel has an amazingly intelligent functionality called Power Pivot that can help us create those links between our tables without you writing a single VLOOKUP. And that's what I will be showing us today. So the first thing you want to do is to open a blank Excel sheet like we have it here. And then you go to the data tab here. Once you open it to be on home, you come to data tab at the top here. Okay, and then you click on get data. From get data, you click on from file because our data set is in an Excel file. So you click on from Excel workbook, and then you go to select your workbook where you have it saved. I have mine saved on my desktop, so I'm just going to pick that here. Okay, and once it loads up, you'll see that I have several tables on the Excel sheet. Normally, most times when you do Excel dashboards, you have just one table. But in this case, we have several tables. So what you want to do is select multiple items and then select all of the tables that you'll be using in your analysis. So for this one, I'll need all of the tables here. So I'll just check them all and then click on transform. Now, there are several options here. Transform will open up Power Query for us to be able to clean up our data and to be able to transform it, normalize it. And then if you click on this arrow here, we have load and we have load to. I'll come back to this later to explain what they mean. But for now, let's click on transform data so we can do a few changes to our data, right? Now, okay, so we have Power Query open up for us. So on this tab, on the first table, which is our fact internet sales. Now, these tables have fact and dim in front of them. So that refers to our facts table and dimensions table. You remember when we were talking about data modeling in Power BI, I extensively explained the difference between facts table and dimensions table. So you can refer back to that video to refresh yourself on that if you don't remember what they mean. I'll also be putting the link to that video in the description box of this particular video so you can watch it after watching this one, okay? So on the facts table, most of this data are already cleaned. So what I want to do here on the facts table is to add an extra column or a few extra columns. So you come to add column here and then you click on custom column. Okay, so the name of the first column I want to add will be revenue, and then my revenue will be my order quantity multiplied by the unit price. So that will be order quantity. We have the list of all the columns here, so you can pick up from here, insert, multiply by the unit price, insert, and then click on OK. That's for my revenue. And then I would add another column and call it cost of goods sold. So I'll use short form cost of goods sold. Now the total cost of goods sold will be the unit price. The unit price, the quantity times the cost. So that will be the cost of goods sold, the quantity multiplied by the cost. Okay, so that's our cost of goods sold. I'll click on OK. And now the last column I'd want to add will be The last column I want to add will be named profit. Now, to get our profit, it's just the difference between the two columns that we have already created. So that will be our revenue, right? Minus the cost of goods sold. And then you have that there for you. Now, the next thing I want to do on this table is to ensure that all my columns are in the right data type. So for the product key, it's a number, so that's fine. For this one, it's number, whole number is fine. For the due date, it's whole number, it's fine as well. This is fine, this is okay. Okay, so most of them are okay. This is unit, this is in decimal number, so that's fine. This is also decimal, that's fine. If you're not sure what the data types are, once you click on this icon here to list all the different data types for you, so you can choose the appropriate one for the column. So this is a date column, and that's why we have the date data type on it. Now, for these three columns I've just created, it has given them the number data type, but they're actually decimals, right? But they are currencies actually, because they are currency values. So I'm going to format them as currency. For this one as well, I'll format it as currency. And for the profit, I'll format it as currency as well. Okay, so we are done with this table now. Now, onto the next table, the territory table. I think this is fine. The product table as well, this is also fine. Now, this one is also fine. I think, yeah. Now, for the customer table, we have the first name and the last name separated, and I would want them together. So what you would do is select both tables, right? And then go to transform tab at the top here. Once you get to transform tab, click on merge columns. So that will concatenate the two selected columns for us, right? If you click on merge columns, and then the separator between them will be a space. So we want a space between the first name and the last name. Click on space, and then the new column name will be full name. And then you click on OK. Okay, so we can see that that has been merged for us. And I think that's all the modifications I need to do on this particular table. Now, on to the next one, which is the date table. So I have this list of dates. Now, this is not a complete date table because I would love to have it show my quarter, have it show the day of week, have it show the month and things like that. So what you want to do is once you have that column selected, you come onto the add column tab, and then you come onto the data option, date option rather here. And then from the drop down, I want to select here because I want it to extract all of the year for me, right? So I'll select here, good. And then the next thing I want is the quarter, right? So I'll select the date column again and go back to this date field and go to quarter and select quarter of year. So that will have it as 1, 2, 3, 4, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, I want the month. So I go to month and select month. So if I select month, it will show the month number, like month 1 to 12, January to 12. But then I want the month name, right? So I'll go here and select month name. So I have it as January to December. Now the next thing I want is the week of year, right? I also want the day. Go to the date column and then come here and pick the day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the likes. Okay, so that will show the number. For us to have the name of day, we will do that as well. So we'll go for name of day to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, one more modification we want to do on this one is the extra column I want to have is if the day is Saturday or Sunday, it should be classified as weekend. Or if it's Monday through to Friday, it should classify it as weekday. So for that, you come to your add column tab and then you click on conditional column because it's a condition. If the day is Saturday or Sunday, then it's a weekend. If not, then it's a weekday. So that's a condition, right? And that's why we're using conditional column here. So I'll select conditional column and then I'll name it as weekday/weekend. Okay. And then so if my column name, my day name equals Saturday, then it's a weekend. Also, if my day name equals Sunday, it is also a weekend, right? Else, if it is not any of these, then it's a weekday. And then here I can click on OK. So we see that here, Saturday weekend, Sunday weekend, Monday weekday, Tuesday weekday, like that. Now, so I'm done with this dimension table. But like I said, if you have data that is not already clean, you would want to take your time, ensure that you've done proper data cleaning, removing null values, removing duplicates, correcting errors, and the likes. Now, once you have that, the next thing you would want to do, if you do not already have your data separated into dimension table and facts table, you would want to normalize the data because your dimensions table contains details about the product or your customers, while your facts table contains the transaction details. So basically, your dimensions are used to slice and dice the facts data. You can refer back to that video where I explained extensively between those two. Now, to move ahead, once you have all of this done, the next thing for you to do is to come to the Home tab, right? Now, then you come to Close and Load. Don't just click on Close and Load, please. Click on the arrow beside it and then select Close and Load to. Then from this option, we'll select only create a connection and then add this data to the data model. And then you click on OK. Now, the benefit of doing it this way is because we have several data from several tables, right? And we want to create a connection between all of them. If we don't do it this way, it will not be easy to create a connection. You'll have to write a lot of VLOOKUP, index and match formulas to create the connection between your tables. But if you have them in a data model, it is very easy to do. You won't write a single formula for that. Now, another benefit of loading your data to the data model is that it bypasses Excel's data limitation, and you can load 10 million rows of data or more into an Excel data model, right? You can load 10 million rows of data into an Excel workbook. But with a data model like this, it is possible, even more than 10 million rows. Next, so once you load onto your data model, you have all of it here. So you can see queries and connections. These are all our queries. These are the tables we have. So the next thing now is to create a relationship between all of these tables so that we can select data between them, between both tables. Now, let me show us something before we create the connection. If we go to Insert and Insert Pivot Table, right? So if we do it this way, okay, let's do pivot table from data We haven't created the connection here yet, right? So let me do um, where's the fact table. So let's do cost of goods sold and profit by the product from another table. Let's say by the product from the product table, product key, right? Now, so you see that, so when I selected the, what's it called, columns from the different tables, this product name is from the product table right here. And then the cost of goods sold and the sum of profit is from my fact internet sales table. Now, because there's no connection between these tables, it's not able to filter the cost of good and the profit for each product. And that's why we have them all recording the same amount here, which is the total figure, right? But that's not what we want. So to be able to get the correct amount, the correct sum of the cost of goods and the correct amount for profit for each product, there's a need to create a relationship between the tables, right? So you would even notice that when I selected it, Excel prompted me that relationship between tables may be needed, right? And we don't have that yet. So I just wanted to show you this so that you understand the implications of when there's no relationship between your tables. Okay, so let me leave it here and then we can go ahead and create the relationships. Now, to create a relationship between your tables, what you will do is to click on the Power Pivot tab here at the top. So once you get to Power Pivot, you come to the Manage option, and then that will open up a new window for you. Now, so these are all our tables that we have here. You can see them listed at the bottom. You can navigate through to see your data. Now, so once you come here to this page, you click on Diagram View. And then if you have watched my data modeling in Power BI, this screen will be very familiar to you when we talked about data modeling in Power BI, star schemas, and things like that. Now, let me show you another way to get to this page very quickly. So I'll go back to my worksheet. Now, another way to get to that page very quickly from your home screen is if you come to the Data tab, there's this little icon here, this green icon that says go to the Power Pivot window. So once you click on that, it will take you straight to this page, right? Now, so the next thing now is to create the connection between our tables. So I just drag all of them close to each other. Now, in a star schema, if you remember, what we usually do is to have our dimensions table surrounding our fact table. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just rearranging all of the tables. I have my facts table at the bottom here and all my dimensions table at the top here. Good. So the next thing is to create all of the connections between them. So I'll expand this a little so I can easily see. Good. Now for my product table, the common key or the common field between the product table and the fact table is the product key, right? So what you will just do is click on one of them and drag it to the other. That will create the connection. So we've done that. The next one is the sales table. Now, so on this sales table, the common column between them is the sales territory key. So all you have to do again is drag and drop on top of the sales territory key. Now, and this will create a one-to-many relationship. Again, I'll refer you back to that data modeling in Power BI video because all of these things were extensively explained there. Now, for the geography, there's no direct relationship between the geography table, and the fact sales table. However, there's a relationship between the geography table and the customer table. They both have the geography key in common. So all you do is drag and drop, right? So I'll bring this down so we can see the line very well. Okay, now next is our dimensions table. Our date table. Now the date table and the sales table will be connected by the date, order date. Order date on the sales table will connect to our date column in the date table. Order date in the sales table to the date column in the date table, right? So I'll just drag that date to order date. Okay, this is order date here, right? So we have successfully created all of the connections between our tables. Now let's go back and check what we did on the worksheet before. Now you can see that now that we have created the connection between the two tables, we have the correct figures showing here. Before it was showing the same figure for all of them, you remember? But now we have created the link, the connection. If you haven't done it this way, you would have written a lot of VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, index and match to be able to do this. But with the help of Power Pivot, we're able to do it in just a single drag and drop, simple drag and drop. Now, once our connection is done, right, the next thing is to insert your pivot table as you would normally do and start slicing and dicing your data to create your visualizations as normal. So, okay, so we've already inserted the pivot table when I was showing the example. So with this now, you can just go ahead, create your dashboards like you would normally do in Excel, right? So that's all that I have for us today. I hope you have been able to learn one or two things from the video today. I'd like to encourage you to kindly subscribe to the channel if you are getting value from the content I post. Also do well to like and share the video with your friends. Drop me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about data modeling in Excel and Power Pivot, Power Query and Excel in general. Do you enjoy creating your visualizations in Excel, or you prefer to use other BI tools like Power BI and Tableau? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.